Remember that a fruit never falls far from its tree. So like our ancestors, we must control our destiny. Self-determination. Self-determination. Kujichagulia. Self-determination. So as we educate our children, tell the truth. Let us always think about the millions who gave before and sacrificed their lives so that our mighty people would survive. And the glory of our past we soon revive, yeah. Every day we face a challenge. You and I, our future's hanging in the balance. So we must do whatever can be done. We must not be dependent on anyone. That way we can be sure that our interests are secure.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today, joining us on a Saturday afternoon for our Pan-African film series. We are the All African People's Revolutionary Party New Mexico chapter. My name is Onya Sanmu. Joining me on the phone is my comrade Afro Phoenix. Hi, Afro Phoenix.
Hello, I'm Samuel. How are you?
Hello. And yeah, this is the monthly Pan-African film series. We do this on the second Saturday of each month at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. We show a different film about the African Revolution, about African liberation, and then talk about it with y'all in a live conversation. So we've been doing this virtually since the beginning of the pandemic, and we'll be continuing to do it virtually for the foreseeable future. And so we thank y'all so much for tuning in today. So today, the film we are going to show... Sorry, go ahead.
It's still trying to connect. I don't know what's going on.
I'll get you sorted out once we finish doing the intro, Afro Phoenix. Right now, we're live on YouTube. So this month the movie that we're showing is The Spook Who Sat by the Door, one of my personal favorite movies. We've actually showed it a couple of times before here on the film series, and the reason why we love this movie is because it is the story of an African revolutionary organizer who seeks a seat at the table, not so that he can work within the system to change things, but so he can get like skills that he can bring back to the African Revolution, back to his people, and use to overthrow that system because he understands that it's unjust. So it's like a spy movie because he's infiltrating the CIA. It's like a satire with some actual parts that are like laugh out loud funny, and it's an action movie and a thriller all in one, like a well-made film on like a movie level, but also a very strong political statement. I was actually reading about some of the history of this movie today to share with y'all because I was like, this must have been very controversial when it came out, and I was not incorrect. The film was directed by a man named Sam Greenlee, African man who was revolutionary in his own right. And when this film came out, Sam Greenlee was punished by the capitalist system, y'all. He and almost all of the actors involved, except for one, the homie queen, who you'll recognize when the movie starts, were blacklisted. After the movie came out, they were not able to find work. The movie itself was only in very, very limited release. You had to like know the right person to find it. So the capitalist system saw the political intention of this movie and decided that they were going to make sure that no one could see it, and also that the folks involved in making it would suffer. So yeah, all but one of the actors and Sam Greenlee himself were blacklisted. Sam Greenlee explained at a showing of the movie at UC Berkeley in the early 80s that he had no income after suffering the blacklisting as a consequence of releasing this movie. He had to depend on friends, like live with them. He could not find work. The book that this movie is based on was banned. The movie itself was banned. And so it was very, very hard to see this movie for a very, very long time. And if you haven't seen it before, you're about to find out why. It is a revolutionary African movie, and the system does not want revolutionary African politics represented in any space. They just want reactionary politics. They just want like racist media and dehumanizing media for us. They don't want stories like this one. So without further ado, we're going to play the film. It's about 90 minutes long, and we hope that you will stick around after the movie is over to join myself and Afro Phoenix for a discussion about what we watched and what we got from it. So thank you so much and enjoy. Oh, also, if you have any issues hearing or seeing the movie, just type in the comments and we will attempt to resolve them. Thank you so much.
Negative attitude towards Africa. In San Francisco, on African Liberation Day, Brother Walter Rodney, an African historian, noted both the importance of African Liberation Day in terms of our African identity and some of the root causes for our problem of identification.
I have met brothers and sisters who say that their mother tongue, quote unquote, is French, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, as well as English, which we speak. And because of this, we have a problem of identification. We do not know whom we are. And that is why this gathering is of great symbolic importance, because it is an act of identification. We are saying that we identify with the African people of the African continent. We are saying that we are an African people. And when we make this identification, have no illusions about the fact that this is a very revolutionary initiative. It is a rejection of every other form of identification which the white society has asked us to accept. Let me draw your attention to something which white universities and white libraries practice. And this is a university community. Numerous universities lie around this land. You go into their libraries and check the Library of Congress cards. Under Europe or European, you will find all entries listed concerning the continent of Europe. You will also find entries listed about Europeans in East Africa, Europeans in North Africa, Europeans in Asia and Australia. Look under the Chinese, you will find entries listed not only for mainland China, but for Malaysia and for the Chinese in North America. But look on the Africa and the Africans, the only entries on the Africans relate to the continent itself. There are no entries on the Africans overseas. There is no such category. Africans who have been raped from the continent mysteriously disappear and become Negroes.
All right, this is the gun lap for the re-election, so give it to me straight.
Well, there are no major defectors for campaign contributions, dear. The war chest is in excellent shape.
Good, very good. What is our image, Will?
We've programmed the latest polls, Senator. Lewis Harris gave us a random pattern sampling with peer group anchorage. Gallup, a saturation vertical syndrome study with horizontal personality backstopping. And NORC ran an ethnic study with racial and religious breakdown, status group compensation, and socioeconomic balancing.
Yes, good. But am I winning or losing?
Losing, Senator.
Losing. But why? The computers had me ahead last December.
It checks out on both computers, plus the one we have as a safety valve backstopping cross-check. If the elections were held today, you would lose by 1.846 percentile.
1.846 percentile. Oh, yes. The computers don't lie.
Isn't there a possible breakthrough with any of the peer groups? How are we doing on the Jewish vote?
The senator's solid with the Jews, Mrs. Hennington. The Negroes are the trouble spot.
The Negroes. I'm the best friend those people have in Washington.
The computers indicate a sharp decline immediately after your law and order speech last winter.
All right. Now, let's see if we can come up with some ideas here. First, how do we retrieve the lost black vote?
Gil, why don't we accuse the CIA of a racially discriminatory hiring policy? They have no Negroes, except on a menial level, you know.
Certain, Belinda. I mean, that may be it.
I'm positive, but I'll check it out with our man over at Personnel.
Good.
Whoever they select will be the best-known spy since 007.
Now stand. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do hereby swear to uphold the laws of the United States of America. To uphold the laws of the United States of America.
And those laws governing the Central Intelligence Agency.
What do you see in this ink blot?
That's the image.
If I were undercover as a political or economic officer in an embassy and I was questioned about racism in the United States, I'd point out that they also have racial and religious troubles. A thing like that isn't resolved overnight, and that our country is firmly behind racial progress and great strides are being made here.
And so on behalf of the director of our agency, I'd like to offer congratulations on completing our tough preliminary training course. After weeks of physical and psychological testing, you 10 men have survived the more than 40 already sworn in, who in turn were selected from a careful screening and security check of hundreds. You men, therefore, represent the best of your race. The survivors of our regular training course, to begin tomorrow, will be the first of your race to join the finest intelligence and espionage fraternity in the history of mankind. I must emphasize, however, that you are by no means agents as yet. Now, the selecting out process continues right up until graduation day. So, keep on your toes, keep your noses clean, and I hope to congratulate you on joining the team at the end of the training course. Thank you.
Well, ain't it groovy to be a spy?
Right on. Really? Hey, we the first spooks to be spooks for the CIA.
Hey, man, you know how much this scotch costs in the commissary? $3. Shiv ass Regal.
Yeah, it's cheaper overseas, man.
Yeah, and rent-free housing overseas, too.
Hey, you went to Fisk, didn't you?
I'm from Howard. Say, you a frat man?
Yeah, man. Golfer.
No kidding, baby. So am I. Oh, okay. Hey, let's get it over there.
Say, didn't we meet last year at the pen relays? Wow, man, yeah. At that party at the motel.
Hey, man, we got it made now. Yeah, but don't forget what Carstairs said. Dig, they can still flunk us out. Yeah, I don't think Carstairs would be uptight if we all flunked out. And you know that PT instructor Calhoun hates us.
Hey, man, it doesn't matter how they feel. You know, the word is integration from the top. Now, some of us have got to make it, and we're it. You just have to understand the theory of tokenism. Look, they grade on a curve. None of us get too eager. Gentlemen see for everybody, right?
Yeah. Right.
Hey, you got a problem?
Four more seconds. As you can see, gentlemen, there is one quick way to fail this course.
Then we take the two wires, we place them here, and we crimp them together, making the connection positive. We take the switch then, and we throw.
All right, we'll operate the ignition by remote control.
Always use those materials which are easily accessible to any citizen of the country in which you are operating. Okay.
How long before this experiment in integration ends?
There are only 6 left in the group, General.
And?
The top-ranking man academically will fail the physical requirements. He's no athlete. Another figures to flunk this week's exam, but one might make it.
You assured me 2 weeks ago no one would survive.
Somehow I forgot Freeman even existed. He has a way of fading into the background. But he's been among the top 3 in academics and first in athletic training.
Yes, they do make good athletes. Which one is he?
That one.
Come in.
Hey, Freeman.
Hey. Come on in.
Listen, we're going into Washington. You want to come along with us?
No, got some studying to do. They've been letting us in town for a month now, man, and you ain't been out of here yet. You're going nuts in here. Well, maybe next time.
Maybe you ought to cool it.
Cool it?
Cool it.
you weren't so eager to please the white man and send the grading curve up, there'd be 3 times as many of us here now. What kind of Tom are you, anyway?
Same as you, I guess. Except that I don't try to have it both ways. And you better watch what you say about white folks. Behind their back, this place could be bugged.
Are you calling me a Tom, man?
Well, none of us were picked for our militancy, now were we? Now, why don't you go away and let me alone?
Why don't you join the team, man?
Team? Man, I'm not playing any games.
Man, you just don't belong. I think you'd be happier with a mop in your hands.
Like your mama.
Let's step outside now.
No. You don't want to step outside with me. Because, baby, I would kick your ass.
Come on. No, wait a minute, man. No, wait a minute. This fool is crazy, man. Come on.
A glass of Voisin. And, would you give the young lady down the end of the bar whatever she's drinking? Yes. This is from the fellow to the end of the bar.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
You looking for some action?
Yeah. How much?
15 and 5. 5 for the hotel.
Yeah. And all night?
Not on Saturday, baby.
Okay. You know, you remind me of someone.
Oh, really?
Who? A queen.
Look, baby, all you got to do is give me my bread. You don't have to talk no trash.
No, really.
What kind of queen?
A queen from Dahomey.
Dahoo? What the hell is Dahomey?
Dahomey was a great nation in Africa.
Africa?
No, really. I've got a book with a picture of you. Look just like her. I'll give you the book.
Sure.
No. You two could be twins, except that she, wore her hair different.
How?
It was kind of like natural, the way it grew. You look good like that.
Look, honey, if you're a hairdresser, maybe I can get you a boy.
No. You'll do.
Good. Then why don't you just be a trick and stop talking all that shit about queens and kinky hair?
Okay. Listen, can I get you another drink?
Mm-hmm. You really got a book with a picture in it that look like me?
I'll bring you the book.
When?
The next time I see you.
Mate. Right. Me. Right. Mr. Freeman, you will stay for additional instruction. Mr. Freeman, I don't think you people belong in our outfit. I don't have anything against the rest of the group. They just don't measure up. But you, I don't like.
I don't understand, sir.
Well, I don't like your phony humility, and I don't like your style. Now, this is a team for men, not misplaced cotton pickers.
Yes, sir.
Stow the as a boss. It doesn't work on me. I'll give you a chance. Just go up to the office and resign. Otherwise, we fight. Now, your black belt matches my own, so you won't be able to whine brutality, equal opportunity you people claim you want. Mr. Sue, Shinban. Rest?
No. There ain't no rest for the weary.
Kang-hun-san, are you all right?
Hey, baby, don't look so sad. Be back in a month.
Well, at least we won't have to stay in a hotel. They let us start commuting in 2 weeks, and I'm gonna get us a pad.
You know, I don't mind this place too much. It kind of reminds me of that hotel off campus. Remember?
Well, listen. What would happen to the Cook County Department of Welfare if the star caseworker misworked tomorrow?
Casework supervisor, honey.
Okay, Miss Big Time. What would happen?
You can play okay?
Yeah. I found a beautiful restaurant last week.
Do they have shark's fin soup?
No, it's a West Indian restaurant.
Oh, shark's fin soup with peas and rice, huh?
Yes.
Hope they stay open late.
They've all been eliminated except Freeman, sir.
Will you make it?
I think so. He has written an oral finals this week.
Security?
Checks out so far. Routine security checks in the training barracks and checks on his activities in Washington. Of course, he's only been allowed out of the training area for the last 2 months.
Anything suspicious?
No, sir. He checked into a colored hotel, spent his weekends in the ghetto, mostly on U Street.
That's pretty tough territory.
Yes, sir, but he seems at home there. He grew up in a neighborhood much like it in Chicago.
How did he get through college?
Athletic scholarship.
That figures. Also explains the Calhoun incident.
Sir, in fairness to Calhoun, Freeman's been studying judo privately for years.
Politics?
Apolitical. He was involved in civil rights activity as a student, but nothing pink or radical.
Men or women?
Women. No hint of homosexuality. Developed a liaison with a prostitute on U Street. Also has a girlfriend in Chicago. Apparently he's known her since they were college students.
When will you run a final 6'9" security check?
It's already in progress. It should be finished in a few days.
Run up a dossier on this whore and give it to me. Leave Freeman's file. Secure security is in.
Yes, sir.
Figured out something for him to do?
Yes, sir.
Well, like it or not, looks as if we're integrated.
You know if he takes any dope? Heroin, LSD, marijuana, pill?
No. He don't even smoke. He ain't no junkie, baby.
Does he have a tendency to boast? Brag about himself?
He don't talk about himself at all. Most regular tricks want to tell you the story their whole lives.
Does he gamble?
If you do, I don't know about it. Took him to a joint one night. Craps, poker. If he get in, I get a cut. You just stand around and look.
What'd you say? Violent? Uncontrollable temper?
Temper? No. He'll never lose his cool. But people don't give him no shit.
Huh? How do you mean?
He's one of them quiet kind of cats that people just don't mess with. Like that time I was telling you about. The cat that owned it owed me some bread. Started to get off the wall about it. Then he checked out Freeman. Just standing there, quiet, digging the action. And the cat, bad, make two of Freeman. Check out Freeman. Look at me. Give me my bread. Thought about that night. He ain't my man or nothing like that, but I know that if I got in trouble, he'd be in it. I think he'd be real bad once he get going, too.
What about his sexual habits?
Huh?
You think he might be homosexual?
No. You wasting your time there.
What is the guiding principle of an underground guerrilla army?
To live off the country. To rely on nothing in the way of logistics or supplies which cannot be obtained easily and simply, whether legally or illegally.
What happens in an underground organization when the first or second in command are killed or captured?
Each man is trained to handle positions 3 steps ahead of him in grade. The operations officer takes over, and the others move up 2 grades.
It's fine. That concludes our oral examination, and let me congratulate you on being the first Negro officer in the Central Intelligence Agency. We've programmed your aptitudes into our computer personnel system. You're to be our new top secret reproduction center section chief.
Hey.
Oh. Hi, Doris. What brings you all the way down here to the 3rd sub-basement?
The general needs someone to give a guided tour for a bunch of senators. You think you can handle it?
Yeah, I think I can handle it.
Good. Senators are in the general's office now.
Okay.
Freeman, you don't like me, do you?
What makes you say that?
You You never seem very friendly when you bring top secret documents to the office. Sometimes it seems like you don't even know I'm around.
Oh, it's just that I'm preoccupied with my duties. I just want to make good here, that's all.
You're very ambitious, aren't you?
Yeah. I want to be the best reproduction section chief they've ever had.
But you are. Everyone says you're doing much better than expected.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Could have been more, didn't it? Well, gentlemen, our Mr. Freeman, he'll conduct your tour. Senator Barton, Senator Chambers, Senator Wilson.
Freeman? Right this way, gentlemen.
General, I'm delighted. A member of your personal staff already. Now, that's integration in action.
You know, that's not a bad idea. Put him on my personal staff. If he doesn't bungle this tour, we'll keep him up here.
Yes, sir. We can put him out in reception. All our visitors could see we're integrated.
I'm not coming back to Washington anymore, Dan. I'm getting married.
The doctor or the lawyer?
The doctor.
He seems like a nice cat.
Sorry. But I'm not getting any younger.
And I'm not in your bag, right? I always knew it had to happen someday. It's all right, baby. Baby. Joy, let's say goodbye right.
Dan, I'm certainly pleased with the way you fitted into the agency. How long have you been with us now?
A bit more than 5 years, sir.
And you've done well. You're a credit to your race.
Thank you, sir.
Hard work, Dan. No shortcuts. Other minorities have pulled themselves up by the bootstraps.
Yes, sir.
You're a perfect example, Dan. Fine, natural athlete. Well, no denying your people are great in sports.
Well, thank you, sir, but we still have a long way to go.
Right. There's still a cultural gap to be closed. It's a question of evolution. Of course, it'll take generations. In the meantime, you people must earn respect by serving the country. Freeman, you people must serve.
General, I want to serve.
I don't understand.
Your comments last Friday afternoon convinced me I can make a real contribution. So I'm going back to Chicago and work with my people and show them the way.
Now, don't be hasty, Freeman. Perhaps you should think this thing over. After all, you do set an example for your people to follow.
Well, I realize that, General, and I have thought about it. But I've decided to take this position with the Social Service Foundation and help my people help themselves. Use what I've learned here.
Well, we'll be sorry to see you go, Dan. Take all the time you need to phase out here. Be sure to let us know how things are going in Chicago.
All right, sir, I will.
Carstairs, bring in Freeman's file. Freeman's leaving us for a do-gooder outfit in Chicago.
More money?
What else? Check out this foundation he used to work for. Saturation and depth security check.
And Freeman?
He's safe enough. A routine surveillance if the foundation is clean. Phone tap. Random and regular checks on his activities and associates.
I'll telex the Chicago office today.
Dan, we really got our work cut out for us. From the fairest young dudes in Chicago, if not the country, operating right here in our territory, the King Cobras.
I used to be a cobra.
You?
Yeah. They used to call me Turk. That gang goes back about 30 years. Listen, do they still hang out down at that, what is it, Pete?
Yeah, you can find them there any night. Except now they own the place.
Hello, Miss Duncan.
Oh, Mr. Freeman, hi. Why don't you join me?
Good. Listen, that looks good.
It is delicious. You want to try some?
Miss Duncan, how's your son, Shorty, doing?
Oh, Shorty's doing just fine. He got a job now, making good money. In fact, he just bought me a color television set.
Well, I hear that he's not only running numbers, pushing drugs. Hey, he's hooked.
No, he ain't no real junkie. Sure, he shoots up now and then. But I don't think he got no more than about a $20 or $30 a week habit. And that ain't no habit.
Well, did you ever think that he could end up in jail?
Not unless somebody turned the heat on in the precinct. And then I can't hardly see why they'd be after Shorty, because he ain't into it that much.
Shorty ever think about finishing at least high school?
No, he don't want no parts of school. You know how them teachers are.
Well, without an education, what's he going to do?
Mr. Freeman, you know ain't nothing out there for us. But right out there in those streets where Shorty is.
How you doing, Shorty?
Hey, Chuck.
I just saw your mother inside the restaurant.
Yeah, I just saw my way down and lay some bread on.
Shorty, the word is on Vine that you're not making your payoff to the cops.
That's the rumor, Chuck.
You mind if I give you a little advice?
No, go ahead.
Why don't you just quit dealing altogether?
Oh, man, you know I can't do that, Chuck. It's survival.
You ever stop to think what would happen in these streets if we cut off the flow of drugs altogether? White folks control your neighborhood through drugs and you dealing.
So what you gonna do now? Give me a sermon?
No sermon, Shorty. I just thought I'd ask.
This our table.
I want to talk to you.
No talk. Social worker. You better split.
You know who I am?
Yeah, Flunky. We know who you are.
Let's go out in the alley. This won't take long.
You don't want to go out there, Van. That's the way you want to go. Right now.
Yeah.
next time, social worker, we have us a piece too.
Shut up and listen. Big time badass cobras. Popping away at the pigs from the rooftops during riots last summer. Oh yeah. I know what you was into. With 22 rifles and pistols, did about as much damage as a mosquito to an elephant's ass. What'd you expect to hit from that range with those weapons at night? You might as well have thrown the damn pieces at the pigs. You really want to mess with Whitey? But I can show you how. I can show you how. You twist the wires to make contact and throw the switch.
Come on with it. Come on with it. Bring it on here. Easy. Easy now. Take your time. Slowly, baby. Touch it off. All right. I'll operate the ignition by remote control. Thank you. Don't drop it. Now. Get out of here.
That's it. Elbow up. The other elbow underneath the piece. That's it. Parallel to it. That's it. That's lean into it.
What's wrong, Willie?
We don't mess around like a high school chemistry class. Man, anybody can make explosives like this.
Okay, Willie. You go order some plastic and detonators from Marshall Fields. Everything on this table can be obtained easily from a drugstore, a hardware store, or medical supply house. If we can get sophisticated equipment, we'll use it, but we don't rely on it. We live off the land. We match technology with spontaneity and improvisation. Men against machines, brains against computers. Now, if you don't think it can work, you check out Algeria, Kenya, Korea, and Vietnam. Can you dig it?
I understand, man. That's cool.
You found out in the country how difficult range estimation is. But in the city, the problem's simplified. A city block is 250 yards north to south, 150 yards east to west. And lampposts are a standard 30 yards.
So we got reference points all over.
Right. And since the buildings act as a funnel for the wind, you can fire on zero windage. Now, run it down to the sniper teams, and I'll be in my pad all night if you need me.
Cool, Dad.
Okay.
How's the new job coming along?
It's, all right.
All right. The word's out in the grapevine how much money you're making.
Well, nothing's changed about the gig except the bread.
But I used to know you when you thought making money was obscene. Making a contribution was your thing.
Well, there's no reason why I can't do both.
That's what I used to try to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. Since the war on poverty, all the social workers are making money.
Everyone except Paul.
Now, that's the old dad. But you have changed. Maybe I should have waited.
Too late to talk about that now. You already have a husband.
Yeah. After a fashion. He goes his way, and I go mine. By the way, Dawson's back from California.
Dawes?
Excuse me. Look, excuse me.
Oh, how you doing?
Okay.
This is Peter Dawson, Hanena, Sylvia.
Where?
I came down to see you. And we're going to have a drink. Can you get over with us someday? Well, if you can, okay? Come on, girls.
Return. How come you always often pay me like the 50 you owe me when we're about to be stuck up?
Because I'm good to you. Trust me. Hey, listen.
Hey, baby, okay.
What are you having?
Cognac.
So how you been, Dunny?
Okay.
Joy tells me that you were in California?
Yeah, I conducted a 15-week seminar on inner-city riot control.
What's that?
Well, it has to do with the Chicago Police Department's approach to street gangs.
And they sent you?
Oh, better. 5-year warlord of the Apaches.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, this is an ex-hoodlum turned cop. Here's to old friends rediscovered.
And the new ones.
Tell me about this new job. The next stage of your training program is to learn how to steal. Yes, sir. I know. You're all experts in stealing from your black brothers and sisters. Now you will learn how to steal from the enemy. Remember, a black man with a mop, tray, or broom in his hand can go damn near anywhere in this country, and a smiling black man is invisible. The president of Chicago Edison's collective pipes. Stud, you will rip off the president's pipes while he's in his office. I want to talk to you, Willie. The brothers tell me you write.
Yeah?
Good. We need a propagandist. So you're the Minister of Information. I want you to set up a group
and use whoever you want.
Okay. What you want, like some posters, music, poetry?
Anything. Just as long as you talk to the people in the language that they understand.
Well, I know about 6 of the cats I can use. You know, it's a lot of wasted talent, the Cobras.
Good, let's use it. And give me an outline in 2 weeks?
1 week, man. I ain't no problem.
Beautiful. I understand you're still registered at the university.
Well, you know I gotta take a few courses each semester, man. Keep that bread coming from home.
You ever intend to get a degree?
And now what do I need with a status symbol?
That's all it is to you.
For a black man in this country? I mean, now what else is it?
You know how my grandmother learned to read?
No, huh?
Along with me. You remember those reading primers?
Dick and Jane? Yeah.
When I first got into those books, my grandmother used to wait for me to come home from school so she could help me with my reading. And she would follow the whole thing, line for line. And one day, I don't know why, I just read a line wrong. And I realized she couldn't read. And I went into the bathroom and I locked the door. And I cried. And every day after that, I ran home so that my grandmother could help me read. And man, the first time I saw her really read, get your education, boy, she used to say. Because that's the only thing the white man can't take away from you. And she was right.
You know, I can't figure you, man.
What's the figure?
I mean, what are you in this for? You want power, you want revenge, you know? What is it?
It's simple, Willie. I just want to be free. How about you?
So do I.
And I hate white folks. Hate white folks. This is not about hate white folks. It's about loving freedom enough to die or kill for it if necessary. Now you're gonna need more than hate to sustain you when this thing begins. Now if you feel that way, you're no good to us and you're no good to yourself. You ever kill a man, Willie?
No.
I have in Korea. And when you spill a man's guts in the gutter, you see how fast hate disappears, unless you like killing, and I don't think you will. Now, some of the Cobras will. Stud will.
Why Stud?
Because he's a killer. He doesn't know it yet, but he is. I have another job for you, Willie.
What's that?
We need money. So I have a bank job cased. The only thing about it is I can't have the job connected with the Cobras.
How are you gonna do that?
We use Red Beans, Benny Rooster, Paul Monte, JT, Johnny, and Tom. And you lead the team.
All the yellow niggas, right? Look, man, I am tired of that. I am not passing. I am black. Do you hear me, man? Do you understand? I am black. I'm a nigga. You understand me? I was born black. I live black. And I'm gonna die probably because I'm black. Because some cracker that knows I'm black better than you, nigga, is probably gonna put a bullet in the back of my head.
Stick up. Get your hands up. Move. Get on the wall. Move. Get on the wall.
Get up.
Now, move. Get your hands up. Hands up.
robbery today of a southwest Chicago bank. Bank authorities estimate the theft to be in excess of $300,000. The men have been described by eyewitnesses as 6 Caucasian males between the age of 20 to 30. Police warn that these men are armed and dangerous.
Oh, the name is on! Oh, the name is on! I can tell you the name! Get up! Get up! Put him up, Malcolm! We play these motherfuckers to 100!
Recruitment and training group ready?
Had their final exams last week.
Transportation set?
They make 2 moves before they reach their final destination. Check for tails along the way. Pick up instructions as they go along.
Logistics?
There'll be $500 in new identification papers waiting for them when they reach the other end. After that, they live off the street.
And when they get there?
Locate and identify a gang like the Cobras. Set up training, a chain of command, organization, and a very tight discipline.
And?
No junk.
Good. I want the men assigned to Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Detroit, New Orleans, and Los Angeles to move out within 10 days.
Man, they got some bad brothers in New Orleans.
You got that right. And stagger the rest of them over the next month. There'll be monthly reports until they make contact and weekly reports after that. Now, if they get busted in a street hassle, they recruit in prison and we replace them. Any questions?
Go, Malcolm.
Go to the basket.
Hey, man. I just got off duty, so I just thought about it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Hey, Joy.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
Okay.
How's the family?
Oh, just fine, just fine.
Good.
Hey, Freebie, I think my oldest boy's gonna be an athlete.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, man. You remember that move I used to make coming off the baseline?
Yeah.
Well, he's got it, man. He's got it. The head and shoulder fake and everything. Man, I didn't teach him that move. You know, I went to the game the other day, and there it was. Reminded me of myself 20 years ago.
I'd like to see that. Next time you go to the game, take me along.
That's a bet.
Okay.
How's Arlene?
Just fine. She's back in school at nights, and she got a master's last year. Now she's going for a PhD.
Any chance of you two getting back together again?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not easy being the wife of a cop.
Say, hey, Jug's in town. How about us sketching a set?
The 3 of us? Like old times?
Hey, I'm sorry, but I have really got to go home.
Oh, boo.
Listen, we'll make it early next week, okay?
Okay. Can't cut her loose, can you?
No. And she knows me too well.
Okay. Have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
For me?
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Talk to you later.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen, let me get this coat on. We go down and maybe we catch 2 sets.
Okay. Then we have a nightcap and a late dinner at the Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll cut out all this fooling around and go see these 2 chicks that I came over to tell you about before I found out the Joy was here.
Ah, yes. Splendid. What happens in an underground organization when the first and second in command are either killed or captured? Daddy?
Each man is trained to handle positions 3 steps ahead of him in grade.
Operations officer moves up and takes command, and everyone else moves up 2 grades.
Good. Now, we're almost ready.
We ain't no junkies.
From now on, everybody gonna think you are. You put needle marks in your arms and you keep them fresh. And no pig is gonna bust you for the things that we'll be doing, as long as you got those tracks.
That's really hip, man. During the daytime, we be nodding. Nighttime, we get out there and do it.
We are gonna get our own. Stop begging for crumbs.
How?
What we got now is a colony. But what we want to create is a new nation. In order to do that, we got to pay a different kind of dues. Freedom dues.
Right on.
Now, according to Mr. Charlie, we have never paid any dues. You dig those plantation movies on television?
Yeah.
No chains, no whips. Bunch of happy darkies just waiting on Master Charlie and his family and digging it.
Like it's fun.
Lordy, 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 it's Colonel Beauregard come home from the war.
My faithful retainer, George, the war is over, and we lost. You're not a slave anymore, George. You're free.
Free, Master? Is that bad, Master? I gonna die?
You're free, George. You can leave the plantation.
I want to stay with you.
But I can't pay you, George. The carpetbaggers mortgage the plantation.
Oh, don't let that worry you none. Well, I wouldn't know what to do with no money. And don't let that mortuary thing worry you either. Everything's gonna be all right.
Bless you, George. George, sit down, George.
Master.
You have just played out the American dream.
Yeah.
And now we're going to turn it into a nightmare.
one's off duty, lady. Can't you read? Take the next one.
Now, let's see what we got.
Oh, wow, man, what a ripple.
You know this gonna make the headline.
No, it won't hit the papers at all. Might give some other people ideas, but this place will be swarming with CIA and FBI.
We go underground?
No. They'll be looking for everybody except us. You see, this took brains and guts, which we don't have, right? Move it out.
Some of the boys is 1A for the draft, man. Now, what we gonna do if they get caught? Go underground?
Yeah. If they can beat it, they should. But we recruit every non-vet we can get. Right now, I'm trying to recruit Dawson as a double agent.
Turk, you really think we can win?
In guerrilla warfare, the winning is in not losing. When you sleep on the floor, you can't fall out of bed.
Then what we trying to do, man?
Fight Whitey to a standstill. Force him to make a choice between the two things which he seems to dig most of all. There is no way that the United States can police the world and keep us on our ass too unless we cooperate. When we revolt, we reduce it to a simple choice. Whitey finds out he can't make either.
Well, the Cobras is ready. What about the other brothers and sisters out there on the streets?
Their choice is when we start. If they don't follow our program and turn us into the cops, we lose in a week. But if they support us,
yeah,
then it's hit and run, harass and hound, and we can paralyze this country.
Yeah, right. Training done started already in 9 cities. 5 groups is combat ready. Plus us.
Right. And by next summer, we should be able to hit the 10 largest urban complexes in the United States.
Shit.
Yeah. Daddy. Yeah.
Looked like a riot when it started, man. Pigs burned together.
Who?
Shorty Duncan. Yeah. After all the training, looks like this shit's gonna start over a jive-ass pusher.
Alley behind the pool hall.
Nothing moves till I give the word, right?
Right.
Okay.
Where you going?
Cop shot a kid.
It looks like it could be trouble.
Don't get involved here.
Gotta go. Don't worry about it.
How things look?
Not good. Could blow any time.
Anything we can do to help?
Just what you've been doing. Talk to the kids, tell them to cool it. They'll listen to you in perfect.
Hey, Fred, what about the kids?
Everybody's pretty uptight, Dan.
Hey, look, Bert, go down to the drugstore, call up the office, tell the night girl to round up all of the street workers and get them down here quick. And then join me, all right?
You got it, Dan.
What else to do?
You want to get over the street. Wait a minute, hold it. Let me go, man! Let me go! Steve, wait a minute, Listen to me, man. What is this going to do, man? You got a wife that's worried about you. You got a job, and if you get busted, you're going to lose it. You want a few people around here with a job to lose. Man, this has got to stop sometime or somewhere. We ain't animals. Come on, y'all just break it on up. Break it on up.
All right, now, come on. Let's start moving it out of here.
Come on, just go home. Come on. Go on home.
Go on in, bro. It's all over.
Looks like it's cooling down.
Yeah, I think you're right. I should be able to pull my men out in another hour.
Get those dogs out of here! The captain sent me up here. I'm telling you to get them out. I'm in charge. And you know what these people feel about dogs. But I got more on it. Just move them. Or I'll kill them. No good anymore. We're gonna have to move back as soon as I can pull all my men out.
Oh, man, it was going to be all right.
Okay, let's pull it back. Hold it.
When we hit, Turk?
The boys ready?
Been ready.
Come on.
Mellow.
Primary and secondary targets.
Check them twice a day.
Weapons.
Oil and ready. Everything ready.
We have to wait.
I mean, what for?
Start, who is the man?
Well, you the man.
And if they get me?
Do daddy.
And?
Me, Pretty Willie, and so on down the line.
So?
We go when you say go.
Yeah. I'll check you tonight.
Right.
I was just standing there looking.
How long since you've been in bed?
Not since the riot started.
That was 3 nights ago, man.
Yeah, I know. Catnap when I can.
When did the National Guard come in?
Late last night. All white.
I noticed.
Yeah, the people didn't dig it when they woke up this morning and found the troops were here.
What do you think they'll do?
I can't see them trying to fight the army.
They didn't mind fighting the police?
Yeah. I never seen him like that.
Maybe that badge has put distance between you and them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot. The pigs over here and the people over there. And never the twain shall meet, huh? Hey, man, I grew up down here, too. And I know these people. Now, there were some good people out there in the streets the last few nights. Not just hoodlums, like they say in the newspapers.
In a scene like this, anybody can get involved.
But that's only going to make it worse. We have to maintain law and order, or we might as well be back in the jungles.
Doris, the ghetto is a jungle, always has been. Understand, you cannot cage people like animals and not expect them to fight back someday. It has always been an army occupation here, with police badges and uniforms. Huh? You and me, a cop and a social worker, we are keepers of this goddamn zoo.
The streets have to be safe.
Safe for who? You're here to protect property, not lives.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You worked hard to get what you got, didn't you? And you want to keep it just like I do?
Bullshit. Listen, you think because you got a badge and I got a couple of degrees, that makes a difference? Do you know what white folks call people like you and me in private? Niggers, dolls. Niggers.
Hey, hey, hey. Haven't heard you talk like that since we were in college.
Well, I'm sorry, man. Maybe the last 3 nights been a little bit much. I got a board meeting. I got to go reassure the white folks. Let's go get something to eat, okay?
Okay.
Hey, old bean. And you too, baby. This is Uncle Tom, Commander-in-Chief of your Black Freedom Fighters of North America, bringing you the latest news from your fighting black underground. Hang on, brothers and sisters. Liberation is near. In just a few minutes, at precisely 3 o'clock, we will demolish the lavish offices of the mayor of White Chicago. 'Cause we don't have a mayor, even if they do count our votes several times to elect him every 4 years. Remember, brothers, in spite of the lies about an assassination attempt on the mayor, which will appear in the white press, that this time we blew the mayor's office at night when he was at home to announce the beginning of our war of liberation. I dedicate this program to the National Guard,
but we're fresh out of hillbilly music. And according to the press and television, the Guard spends all his time playing basketball with the kids and helping old ladies cross the street. But we know better, don't we? We know about that 14-year-old girl the trigger-happy Guardsmen shot last night, and the people they beat up, and the black businesses they destroyed, don't we?
It's almost time. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
And the mayor's office is now air-conditioned, courtesy of the Black Freedom Fighters of Chicago. And the message is this: pigs in the National Guard have to go immediately, if not sooner. If they have left by midnight Sunday, we will kick them out. Whitey, go home. We don't want you in our neighborhood either. And we will control our nation.
We will leave when things are back to normal, with them at the bottom and us at the top.
Colonel Evans, would you care to comment on charges of brutality by the Guard?
If they obeyed the law, we wouldn't be here. They'll get what they ask for. But there has been no brutality by the Guard.
Colonel, what about the threats by the freedom fighters that kicked the Guard out of the neighborhood?
They said midnight tonight. It is now 12:30, which tells us exactly what we think of their threats. It's also time to put an end to this conference. I have a report to work on. Good night and thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Hold it right there. All right, you just killed your last white man.
He died. My people attack.
You don't scare me none, you snaky Indian.
First black colonel. The Black Sambo. Rerun. Yeah. How you like that? You like that, don't you? Colonel. Always wanted to be like that, didn't you? Coffee, tea, or milk?
Poison? You're gonna kill me?
Oh, soul brother, just a little acid. Going on a little trip. Hold it. Hold it.
Man, how are you? I just met the most marvelous bunch of niggers. the most marvelous bunch.
You get him?
Shit.
Two people over in this area, please. Hurry.
Due to increased fighting in Chicago, the president has ordered a brigade from the 82nd Airborne into the war-torn South Side to reinforce the beleaguered National Guard under heavy attack by black guerrillas since late last week. This is Pat Fennell, Chicago.
You've been here since the beginning, Carstairs. How does it look to you?
General, it couldn't be worse.
We have elite troops out here now against untrained black fanatics. The whole thing should be over before the weekend.
Those troops are facing a highly trained underground guerrilla army. They have military weapons and they know how to use them. The commander of those elite troops insists he can put this thing down within a few days.
You disagree?
Yes, sir, I do. They're a first-class fighting unit.
You've prepared an options book.
Yes, sir.
And?
We have 3. Root them out one by one, starve them out by siege, total evacuation of the black population.
Evacuation?
Now, the first is too costly in lives and equipment. Neither evacuation nor siege would work.
Why not?
General, we sealed off the ghetto for 3 days last week. It paralyzed the city.
Paralyzed Chicago?
Chicago is more dependent on black labor than one would think. 90% of the garbage collectors are colored. 60% of the hospital workers are colored. 60% of the bus drivers and 80% of the postal workers. So although the detention camps occurring under the 1950 Subversion Act are ready, we can't put them to immediate use.
Your recommendation?
We can end it alone, sir.
Yes?
The Russians obviously have a top agitprop man here. Find him, destroy him, and you have disorganized, ignorant Negroes to deal with.
Cut off the head and the snake dies.
Exactly.
All right, Carstairs, get right on it. I'm going back to Washington. Get back to me by tomorrow noon. Honey, I'm going back to Washington. Why don't you amuse yourself here for a few days? Do a little shopping. Be back Sunday, huh?
Sure, baby. We'll find something to do in Chicago.
But how'd you know how to find me?
I looked in the phone book.
Yeah, well, you look great. But what are you doing in Chicago?
I'm here with my sponsor. I'm not hustling anymore. Got me a steady scene. Be a little bit freakish, light black skin. But the money's good. Got me some property. You know it.
I do.
Yeah. You used to work for him. You know, you his nigger. All the time he'd be saying, if all of us niggers was like you, wouldn't be no trouble. First I thought he was talking about somebody else.
So?
So they had to get Uncle Tom.
Well, what makes you think I know anything about Uncle Tom?
I'm not saying you do, but you know Chicago and I don't.
Yeah, but what am I supposed to do?
Warn him. Tell him they have to kick ass and they ain't playing.
One thing. Why are you sticking your neck out?
I'm black, ain't I?
Yeah. Yeah, you are, baby. Who's in charge?
Carstairs.
What are they up to?
They plan to get inside, find out who this Uncle Tom is, and kill him.
Cut off their head, and the snake dies. Do they know who Uncle Tom is?
They think he's some guy from Russia.
They would.
You want me to see what else I can find out?
No. Wait a minute. Two can play at this infiltration game. Find out all you can, but don't pry. I'll have somebody contact you in Washington. Baby, be very careful. And don't contact me again unless I get to Washington.
What's this wall, hunky? Split!
And why should you feel threatened by the freedom fighters?
Because I am, and you are too.
How?
You know how. Look, all the progress we've made over the last few years will be wiped out if this thing isn't stopped soon. I heard even your foundation is on its way out.
Well, no. They decided to increase the budget and the staff.
Yeah? Well, my husband was dismissed from the hospital. And he was the first and only Negro on a white hospital staff in the city.
Well, what is the connection between your husband and the freedom fighters?
Dan, that is the whole point. Innocent and decent people are suffering because of niggers who know nothing but hate and revenge.
And it's all the niggers' fault, right?
Look, don't romanticize those people, Dan. They're not beautiful.
Only by contrast.
Dan, those freedom fighters are murderers.
Hey, listen. It didn't figure to be long before those niggers realized that you don't have no wind throwing a brick at somebody with a gun.
Dan, whose side are you on?
Your side. We're in the same bag. Making the best of a bad scene.
I think he's mixed up with those black freedom fighters.
Dad, you gotta be kidding.
I am sure of it. We were talking and he just, for a minute, he was like he used to be.
Yeah. He was something else when he was in college. And that was before all this became fashionable.
He was defending those animals. And then he caught himself. And he said all the right things, but it just wasn't him. It just wasn't the man I know.
Perfect source for intelligence. Gig takes them all over the ghetto. I'll check it out.
Pete, I am doing the right thing.
Come on. Just put your coat down right there.
What is this, Dawes?
Come on, Uncle Tom. Come on!
Uncle what?
Uncle Tom, up against the wall. Come on, against the wall. Spread your feet out. Come on.
Hey, easy. What is this? Some kind of joke, man?
Yeah, that's a joke. The joke is on me. I've been looking all over for Uncle Tom, and here you are under my nose. Cool Dan Freeman. Only digging sports cars and bread. Good clothes and chicks. Beautiful cover, man.
And when I think about it, I mean, really think about it. Now, would I risk all of this for that?
Yeah, well, I don't have to worry about that, man. I got enough evidence to take you in, and that's what I'm going to do.
What evidence?
Oh, them tapes, man. Them Uncle Tom propaganda tapes that you cats spread around the ghetto. Well, I listened to them over and over again. And it's you, Dan. It's your voice.
You gotta be crazy.
Well, we'll see if a voice print proves whether I'm crazy or not.
Now what?
Now what? Well, the scene is over. Well, one thing. Are you working with the commies like they say? Who's behind you?
How come there gotta be somebody behind me?
Oh, come on, man. Don't put me on. No. The FBI says it's the most sophisticated underground movement in the Western Hemisphere. The work of an expert.
An expertise is white man's monopoly, right, Dawes? Well, I am an expert. I spent 5 years flunking to become an expert.
This gun makes me an expert.
You're a big man with that gun and that badge. You know, Dawes, you want to have it both ways. You want a pat on your head from Whitey, and you want to love and respect your people. But you can't be with your people without betraying that badge. And you can't be a cop without betraying your people, you hypocrite.
You think nobody else feels the way you do? You think you're the only nigger with the sense of an outrage?
Well, then hit back, join us. We can use you. We got undercover people on the force.
On the force?
That's right. But
who?
Nobody with your rank. Come on, join us, Tom.
And you're using kids.
Who else am I going to involve? People like you and me? The kids are our only hope. And I got to them before they got jailed or killed or turned into Dawsons. And now they'll do anything to be free.
Who said you were free, man?
Well, Dawes, even on the wrong end of your gun, I'm a lot freer than you are.
It's Dawson.
Hey, man. Dawson's your main man. You know, that would be like me killing Daddy.
Yeah. And maybe one day you'll have to kill Daddy Or him, you. You think we're playing games, killing white strangers? There are a lot of Dawsons out there, and some of them will try to stop us. But anybody gets between us and freedom has got to go. Now, that's anybody. You got the airborne out there now. If 40% of those troops are black, maybe they'll help us, and maybe they won't. But in the meantime, if you hesitate with any one of them because he's black, just once, you be one dead cobra. Now, if you ain't ready to pay them kind of dues, now you get out and go back to doing nothing, but don't tell me who I killed and what it cost me to do it. Now, get him out of here. Get him out.
Right,
It is now condition red. All fighters in the field. You alert our groups everywhere. And remember, don't quit until you either win or you die.
Outbreak in the black section of Oakland brings to a total of 8 the number of uprisings by black guerrillas in cities across the nation. The president has declared a state of national emergency.
Okay.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching the movie. Once again, that was The Spook Who Sat by the Door, based on the novel of the same name by Sam Greenlee. Really great movie. Afro Phoenix is also here with me. Hi, Afro Phoenix.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, what did you think of the movie, Afro Phoenix?
Well, it's interesting. There are some scenes in there, though, that bothered me. Right. I don't like the way that they treat women. I don't like that because they're using women as subservient decorations and just to relieve their sexual energies. Yeah, I don't like that.
So I don't fully agree that women were only used to relieve sexual energy. That's actually something specifically I wanted to talk about. But I do agree that it was a very male-dominated vision of revolution, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is not what it looks like, because we're in a revolutionary age, it's all women. But also, I see the folks were going off in the comments, really enjoying the movie, basically talking the whole time with each other. Someone came through, I see, and told y'all to run for election in local office. And that's how we change things. So yeah, great conversation happening. But yeah, we can get into it. And actually, let's actually talk about the depiction of women in the movie. That's a good place to start it off. So what didn't you like about it?
Well, as I said, I don't like the way that the women are treated in the roles, and they are disloyal, dishonest, hookers and prostitutes, and what you call the ones, the female toms. I guess those are aunt toms. Yeah, I just didn't like the parts that they played.
Yeah. I will say, so first, like the Aunt Tom person, to me, that's like a real woman. I know a lot of women like that, but it's not something that's like particular to African women. It's something that's like particular to like petty bourgeois African people that come in all genders. Right. And so I feel like that depiction was exactly like Kamala Harris. Like that lady to me was like Kamala Harris, or like Michelle Obama. So I feel like
right on.
It was definitely like frustrating to watch her, and she like straight snitched on him, and I was like, well, damn, girl. So that was definitely like, that sucked. But I feel like that's a real person. But to the point about the hooker or the sex worker, like I actually like that character. To be honest with you, like I know sex workers who are socialists, who are Pan-Africanists, who are revolutionaries, and who have the same politics that I do. Some of them are active in revolutionary organizations. But the way that like sex workers are depicted, particularly African women sex workers usually, isn't like in a dehumanizing way or acting like they're like duplicitous and like only out for money and so on and so forth. And that's just like not my experience of who those people are. And I feel like a really good thing about that character in the movie is that it showed that. It showed that. First, I like the way that she was treated in general in the movie, especially because in mainstream culture, African sex workers, poor working class women, are like talked down on, are like constantly policed in terms of, you know, what we wear, what we look like, or how we behave, like no twerking, no wearing bonnets outside, all these like kind of standards for our behavior. Meanwhile, women like Kamala Harris, who are like the height of respectability, are doing much more damage. So I like the way that she was treated, where he like, you know, they had sex, he paid her, that was her job. And I was like, you know, it is what it is. Like, that's a real thing that happens because of like the conditions that capitalism imposes on us. But then also, there was never a point when he talked down at her. He actually like built her up. She actually heard it, and she was like, yes, I am an African. I identify with African culture. And then she was like, part of the movement. He like not only didn't talk down on her, but built her up, but then he also like integrated her into the movement, like gave her a role. So like, I don't know. I liked it. Yeah. If that woman's going to exist, like let her be treated with respect. Let her be portrayed as a revolutionary.
Well, I come from that generation. And I know the way males treated me. Yeah. And I certainly didn't like it. Yeah. I didn't like it. I still don't like it.
It's still happening. I like, you know, there's oh my God, you should see the way that I hate like celebrity-centered analysis, but the way that people talk about, for example, like a Megan Thee Stallion, the way that people talk about, you know, an African woman who's like poor, who has like her titties out, like the way that people talk about poor working class African women, single mothers, women who don't meet the standards of like capitalist white supremacist respectability is like garbage, abusive, destructive. Meanwhile, these women are like holding up communities, holding up families, raising children, absolutely part of the movement. They have a history of sex work, and that doesn't define them, and it also doesn't devalue them. And I feel like this movie, by treating her with respect, shows that a truly revolutionary movement, a truly revolutionary organization, and a truly revolutionary man or any gender person would treat that woman with respect and try to organize her just like they would try to organize anyone else. That's why I really liked it. Yeah. It did not talk down on her ever.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you in that aspect. It's just, you know, as I said, the way that I was receiving about the portrayal of these women. Yeah. And so, but I was not thinking in the way that you're talking about them in being revolutionary. Yeah. No, that part I like. I like. Yeah.
And it would have been good for, like, you know, when he was training with the gang and recruiting youth from the hood, like there should have been a woman. Like, why wouldn't there have been a woman? Why wouldn't there have been like a non-binary person? So I feel that. I feel you.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the point of the depiction of women. You know, positives and negatives. I really appreciate personally the Dahomey Queen character. I love her. I love how she like took it upon herself to be like, look, these white men are after you. At the same time as the petty bourgeois African woman was snitching to the police. The Dahomey Queen was reporting back to Freeman and being like, look, these people are after you. You better organize. So like, I mean, like to me, the Dahomey Queen is like clearly a heroine in the movie, whereas the petty bourgeois, like light-skinned woman, was like, damn girl, like, ugh. Okay, so yeah, so I appreciated that.
Right. Yeah.
almost immediately.
I found it interesting that they were using, what is that, the Rorschach test, for personality profiling, all that, and the way that they were billing them, the way they were billing them up and dividing them. Those are just the ways they were all, how should I say, empowering him to make, oh, you're not like all the rest of these, in other words, these other niggers, you're better than that. You're our top lapdog. Yeah.
Absolutely. When they thought that he was on their side, he was like, they should all be like you. They had him like making copies. he was the first African given a job in the CIA, and they immediately put him to work making copies in a tiny room. But yeah, they were just like, all these Africans should be like you, when they thought that he was like subservient and docile and wanting to be like them and wanting to move up. And it's just very, yeah, that divide and conquer is real. They really want to like lift up the ones that are going to do what they say, basically, that are going to want to see at the table and like behave.
Was Sam Ringley, was he actually a real a CIA agent, or is this fictional, or totally fictional?
It's totally fictional, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Although I wonder what the first African who was hired by the CIA actually was like. I bet you he was not a revolutionary. I should look that up. But another thing that I wanted to talk about from the movie is just like speaking of the petty bourgeois African woman that snitched, and like the cop friend, like the depiction of like class contradictions within the African community. Like these Africans, they like pretended to be down for their people, right? They were all talking about the condition of their people and how they wanted to help and how they could help and make money at the same time and all kinds of nonsense. But ultimately, like when things started popping off, when the revolution was actually at the doorstep, they were like threatened by it. They were invested in the system that was oppressing their people, and they moved to protect that system. The girlfriend by snitching, and the cop by like going to arrest him. So like, just like, I feel like that it was a dramatization, right? Like it's an escalated condition, but like it was a very accurate depiction of the fact that like a lot of petty bourgeois Africans are not actually down for revolution. They're like, I actually like the way things are.
And the note I said that says equivocal to the house nigger.
Yep. Yes. Correct.
Those are the petty bourgeois. Yeah. Because they're right in there because they want to keep things as they are because they are benefiting from it.
Yep.
Or they think they're benefiting from it, from the system.
Absolutely. Yeah. Someone in the comments called them tragic bougie Africans. And it is, their condition is like really tragic because they want the perception that they're aligned with their people. Like they were, like I feel like petty bourgeois Africans are always talking about making a difference while making coin. Like they always are like, oh, I can have a job where I make money off of the struggle, but I'm also contributing. I feel like that's like the dream for them. And so they're very concerned with being perceived as like helping their people, but they're most invested in like their own individual advancement. So like when the revolution comes, they're like, why are they burning down the stores? They're making us look bad. Oh my God! Like they're extremely threatened by it. Even though the revolution is going to actually improve the conditions of their people more than any of like the nonprofit shit and more than anything like the policing or anything, they're still just like, I don't want that to happen because I like what I got from the way things are.
Right. And that towards the end of the movie, what's that guy's name? Dawson. Yeah, Dawson, Pete Dawson. Yeah, because he was like versus him being a double agent. He was actually a triple agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you mean by triple agent?
Okay, because Freeman recruited him to. He thought that he was recruited to because remember he was talking about he wanted Dawson to become a double agent, but Dawson made it seem like he was a double agent. But then he was also playing back again, so another agent again. So it's why I think that he was a triple agent.
Duplicitous.
He was playing three sides.
Terrible. Yeah, he was very invested in maintaining his position as a high-ranking African police officer who they like fly in to deal with his people. Like that's the other thing about the African petty bourgeois. They're basically like our middle managers. Like there's like the mostly European ruling class. And then there's like the European petty bourgeois, and then there's like the African petty bourgeois who's completely subservient to all the previous people who basically exist to like control the rest of us, to like translate us for Europeans, to like make sure that we don't get too uppity and too rowdy. Like that's why they're there. And so like they literally flew Dawson in at the beginning of the movie because the poor working class Africans were getting too rowdy. And they're like, calm this down. Like, that's his job. And he does it. And he thinks he's helping. And that's...
Like, they use the word job, like job is an excuse for any kind of servile and evilness that's carried on. So a job is a cover for everything. That word, J-O-B, is a cover for everything.
Word. So that takes me to the next thing I want to address, which is like, you know, the saying, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, meaning that just because a person is African doesn't mean they're aligned with the masses of their people. Like, for example, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are a beautiful African couple, and man, they do not care for us. I bet you those people hate us. But regardless of how they feel about us, they worked to uphold and protect and serve a system that is oppressing, exploiting, and killing us. Those people are not on our side, despite the fact that they share identity. Those people are on the side of the capitalist system. And so you cannot look at an African person and conclude that they are aligned with the struggle for liberation of the masses of the people. You just can't. You just can't. And I feel like this movie worked really hard to show that.
Right. And it showed the betrayal. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes, if
just because of their skin, just because of their skin color, they will betray you as well.
Yeah, the Europeans were kind of like inept in terms of like taking out the African Revolution. Like they kept getting outsmarted, which is a theme that I really enjoyed throughout this movie, where like the Europeans assumed that we were like docile and stupid, to be quite honest, and we just like continuously outfoxed them, like got all of in their buildings and their systems and their institutions, and like got what we needed and left, and like just like constantly outsmarted them.
Right. Yeah. That reminded me of that, especially in that scene where the police cop car was controlled. Reminded me of the scene when they broke Atakawa out of prison.
Oh, I agree. Yes, that's a real life example. When the police when they broke Asada Shakur out of jail, and there's like a raw video of news footage of the night it happened, and you just see like these police just like milling around, looking so confused. They're just like, and the reporter's like asking them questions. They're like, who got in there? And they're like, we don't really know. Maybe black people. They're like, how did she get out? And they're like, we don't know. Did they have guns? I don't know, man. Like they don't know anything. They can't answer any questions. They don't know where she went. Like she's gone, because they got outsmarted by revolution.
And the other thing too is that they don't learn at all. They don't know anything about history. Yep. Just the example of the what is it, what do they call it, when the slaves took over the ships and stuff like that, when they would bring them up, the revolution, and they threw out the Europeans in Haiti. It happened all over the world. They never learned. They never learn. And because they don't think that we people are capable.
Yep.
And everything that they learn from us. Learn from our ancestors.
Yeah, there's actually the part in the movie where the CIA is like, these Africans could not possibly be doing this on their own. It has to be the Russians. And then even at the end, when Dawson's trying to arrest Freeman, he's like, who's behind it? Is it the Russians? Like, they don't believe that African people on our own are capable of outsmarting them. But meanwhile, like, look at the history you just listed: the Haitian Revolution, the mutiny aboard slave ships, maroon colonies, the breakout of Asada Shakur. Like, we have consistently outsmarted them in the history of our struggle for liberation. Like, we have done it repeatedly, and they still are invested in this image of us as being like not capable. So it has to be the Russians. It has to be China. It has to be some outside agitator manipulating us into outboxing them and beating them. Like, it's ridiculous how consistently they like take up that lie.
Huh. The other thing that I was thinking about too is that we Africans have watched and observed. We know them better than they know themselves. because they know exactly how they're going to react. They know how they're going to react because of the long association of being in the subservient and oppressed and enslaved. And so they watch, and they have learned from the oppressors. So they know how they're going to react. They know how they think. They know how they behave. So again, that's why we know them better than they know us.
It's very true. It's very true. It's almost like a matter of survival that we have to understand. European people and how the system functions and what they expect from us. We're just forced to. I think that it is definitely, it's like something that we could use as a strategy as depicted in this movie. If we, instead of like attempting to like play into it and like live up to their expectations, we subverted it the way that Freeman did. Like Freeman worked overtime to depict himself as like a coon, basically, as a very subservient African who wanted a seat at their table, who was very interested in serving their system. Like, if you play that role, they'll buy it because they want to. They want to believe that we like them. They want to believe that we want a piece of this system. They want to believe that we're as invested in as they are. So, like, you can use that absolutely as a strategy. But I think that what's happening now, especially like post-Obama, is that our African people are like legitimately invested in the system. And like legitimately seeking a seat at the table. Like that, the person in the comments, I forget their name, like Jesus was in their name. In the YouTube comments, there was like this person who was like, you don't need to tear up the city. You need to run for office. You need to run for local political office. And that's how you do it. You need a seat at the table. And I think they were serious. And it was just very interesting to me because we've already done that. We've already had a seat at the table. We had the office of the U.S. president.
Yeah, that seat at the table don't mean shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we remember we were talking about Baltimore and work study when Freddie Gray was murdered.
Right,
And
yeah, Marilyn Mosby, yeah.
Yes, the district attorney Marilyn Mosby. She's basically the African petty bourgeois snitch in the movie. Basically, she's counter-revolutionary. But then also, when Freddie Gray was murdered, 6 policemen were involved. 3 of the 6 policemen were Africans. The police chief was African. The district attorney was African. The mayor was African. Half the city council was motherfucking African. Excuse my language. So, what does that show you? We had all of those local political offices, and the outcome was not changed. The outcome was not changed. So, we have, in fact, done that, and the strategy has failed. The strategy has failed. Like, having African people being invested in the system does not work.
Yeah, because they're colonized, and as you said before, petty bourgeois.
Traitors. Sellouts. Petty beef. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the white passing character. I forget his name. But
who? The what?
The one that looked white, but he was African. What's his name? Is it like pretty?
Oh, that was William.
William, yeah. So someone pointed out in the comments. I did not know that. There's like this like, I guess she's like a writer or something, or a talking head on MSNBC.
He was a university student.
Yeah.
And he did right. And so he was just going to school just to go to school because that was a way for him to earn a living just by staying a student. Yeah. Oh, that was another thing I wanted to expound on as well. And that's how, because when Freeman went into that I guess the senator's office or whatever the official office, and he was saying about the camouflage. You can camouflage right in plain sight. A black man with a bucket and a mop is invisible. A white man or white appearing man is invisible too. The way that that's why they have as William called you, so all those yellow niggas they're the ones that, so he was offended by it at first, and then he realized how important his role was because of the way they appeared, because they appeared white and invisible, because they don't notice. And one thing that I noticed as well is that whenever something happens, if a white person commits it, they are human. But if a black person commits, they always denote the color. You ever notice that?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. In the mass shootings, you can always tell it was a European that did it because they won't say the race. If an African did it, or like an Arabic person did it, they're like, this Arab killed 8 people, but if like a European man did it, they just won't say the race. That's how you can tell. So that's
Right,
true.
right, yeah. He's just plain, he's a plain man.
Yeah.
But in the person of color, they got to denote the color.
Yep. Absolutely. But the actor that played Pretty Willie was actually a Black Panther in real life, and he's the father.
What one that played what?
The light skinned one, Pretty Willie. The one.
Really?
Yeah, he was a Black
was
Panther.
the Black Panther.
But then he became a police officer later in life because the Black Panther Party did not have systematic political education, and so they went after the party fell apart. They went all kinds of ways. Some of them like stayed revolutionaries, like Elaine Brown or Durban Mohad, and some of them went way right, like Eldridge Cleaver, and also like this guy. And I guess he's the father of Jamila Lamu. I don't understand her name, but she's like a person that's like on NBC, and she's like a Democratic Party operative, like petty bourgeois African media personality, and she sucks. So it's interesting. It's interesting that he played this role in this movie. But I personally appreciate the character for what you talked about, what it did, showing that how they used him, that they knew that he could go places that they couldn't, and he could pull off things alongside the other light-skinned Africans that they couldn't. And like at first, he didn't like it. He had like his little light-skinned moment, but then he understood that was the role he needed to play at that particular time. And I feel like that's how we should deal with, like we have Africans of all complexions, and everybody's gonna come along. Like everybody has to come along. Everybody has a role to play. You have to understand the position that you occupy with that skin tone, and how you can like do things that other folks can't. Like, and that's fine. He had his moment, and then he played his role. So I really appreciate it because it showed one that there's a role for everybody, but that also there's like things that people have to struggle through given their individual positions. If that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah.
You know what? I was a question. I didn't understand when you talking about 69 security check. What is the 69 security check? Does anybody know?
A 69 security check?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. Is it a CIA thing?
Yeah, I don't know, and that's why that was my question. What was a 69 security check?
We can look it up afterwards.
Yeah.
But cool. 69 security check. Maybe if someone knows, they can put it in the comments. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Yeah.
Cool.
Somebody could answer that for me. Yeah.
Another really cool thing about this movie, though, is how they use African culture and like a sense of connection to African identity, like as like a foundation for the revolutionary struggle, the revolutionary organizing. Like obviously the beginning of the movie, where he's talking to the African woman and telling her she looks like a queen, and she's like, at first she thinks he's like making fun of her, and then she like goes along with it. But yeah, like from the even before that, when they open it up and it has the African music, the drums, and the African statues. Like, they just use a connection to Africa, analysis of us as Africans living in the United States as, like, a third world people connected to a third world struggle, a global struggle, instead of to, like, the United States as an entity. Like, I feel like the way that was done is very important because it shows how we can use African culture and African identity and a sense of dignity as African people as a basis to build a revolutionary organization, a revolutionary movement. And I feel like, sometimes people act like culture and socialism are like at odds, or culture and revolution are at odds, but I feel like it's a key component to understand that we are an African people and that we can use our culture as a basis to free ourselves.
Right. I recall that when Freeman was telling William in intelligence gathering, he said when he asked William how long would it take to do it, and he said 2 weeks, and William comes back and no, he did it in a week. And so that's what he's doing to all different aspects of African society. You know, the churches, the playgrounds, wherever the spaces that Black people are in. And so, and reaching them and talking to them in their language, the language that they own, that they cultivate, that they created.
Absolutely.
And I know myself. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't recognize or understand myself. And I grew up, of course. I've been African and Black all my life. But there's a lot of stuff I don't understand. I do not understand, right? But especially like flamingo and stuff like that, I don't know. But I am familiar with some of the words that they use for cats, for males, and chicks and stuff like that, because that's the era that I was in as a young person. So I was familiar with that, but some of the other stuff that I wasn't familiar with, especially like I guess maybe like I think like subcultures within the Black or African community. There are other subcultures within there that I don't recognize or understand. I just don't know it. So that's ignorance on my part.
But that is a good point that he, like Freeman, when he got his skills from the CIA, and even actually when he was going through the training, because if you remember, they mentioned like, what does he do in his free time? And they're like, oh, he's just like in the ghetto in Chicago. So he's like going to be among his people, and he's consistently going to where his people are and like building with them and learning from them and teaching them and like integrating himself with the masses of African people, poor working class African people specifically. Like that's another thing I really appreciate about this movie is that it shows the importance of organization. Like this was not a spontaneous uprising that happened at the end. Like it isn't just like all of a sudden the people rose up and all of a sudden there was revolution. No, like they built that. They organized that systematically. The timeline was very short. I don't know if it would take take that less time or take that little time in real life. But they were systematically going to where African youth were, going to where poor and working class African people were, and bringing them into the organization, bringing them into the movement, giving them a role. So it was just a very good depiction of what kind of systematic work it takes to build revolution.
Right. And I like the part where he said, where Freeman was talking about the kids were the ones who were going to, and I guess paraphrase, they were the ones who were going to take this all the way to wherever it needs to be taken to. It was the youth, the young people. Yeah, so I really appreciated that. Yeah, and when he told Dawson that he got to the young people before Dawson and his kind got to them, so that they could get killed by the police and the system. So
I loved when he said that.
I appreciated that.
I will say that the depiction of the uprising after the African was killed and the people just like the police mistreated them. It was like it could have happened like last week in terms of like the depiction of the African being murdered and then the response to the community.
It's so contemporary, with what's going on now.
Absolutely, like that's what happened. They left his body in the street. Like that's what happened to Mike Brown. Like it has happened to our people consistently as long as police have existed in this country. They have shot our people down. Our people have only taken so much and at some point pushed back, at some point rose up, and then the state and the police respond with brutality. They respond with pigs, they respond with batons, they respond with violence to people just rising up and speaking up for our dignity. And the African cop, Dawson, is like right there. Like he's trying to some extent mediate it, but he's not questioning the presence of these police in this community. Like, imagine, like, after, like, killing someone's son, you, like, beat them with a baton for being upset about it. Like, that's the reality situation. That's what police are doing in our neighborhoods. And he's just, like, standing with them. He's a cop. So it's just a very realistic depiction.
Yeah. There was something else that I didn't quite get. I was trying to get it down. He said, when Freeman was saying that... pertaining to those young people, about whatever it takes. If you got to kill your daddy, that's what you do because you're loving freedom more than anything. Yeah.
And there's another part where he says like it's not enough to hate Europeans. You can't do this because you hate Europeans. You have to do this because you love African people. Like it has to come from love, which is like paraphrasing Che Guevara, who says revolutions are driven by love. I mean,
right.
Yeah. This is a very important message because I feel like a lot of people have like the hate European part, which is they have done enough, they have earned that, but it's just not going to be the basis of any strategy for liberation if the entire focus of your organizing is just like them. It's just like getting them to
because it wastes energy.
Yeah.
When the energy could be more useful and directed in a manner for fighting for liberation and unity. Yeah.
Love. Yes.
Versus hating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What else?
Another thing that I want to ask about too, how did they fake those needle tracks?
On the person, the dude they kidnapped, the cop.
No, on themselves, because like by day they were like junkies and heroin users, but at night they were like they were revolutionaries. And so I was curious as to how they were faking those needle tracks.
I'm sure there's all kinds of ways, but I would not know. Oh, I will say, just to like briefly go back to like the whole theme of us outsmarting them, like them being really invested and seeing us as like submissive and docile and childlike, and us using that to manipulate them and outsmart them. This movie, like that theme in this movie, reminded me of Sarah Unya. Sarah Unya, the movie about right. The queen.
Tell me the part that reminds you of Sarah Unya.
Just like when they're facing the French troops like head on. And they like provoke them into like attacking, and then they like trap them in that building, and then like kill them all. Like they just like basically like militarily outmaneuver them. And the French are like they're calling us the N-word. They're like killing women and children, just like basically acting like we're disposable, like they can do any kind of thing to us with no consequences. And then the Africans just get organized, and as soon as we're organized, it's a wrap. Like we militarily outmaneuver them. So I feel like that theme of superior organization. Taking them out each time we should pay attention to. We're not actually inferior. We're just out organized. And that's not a permanent state. It can be addressed.
I remember that scene too in Tarianya where she went in and face to face with those captains, and they didn't even recognize her.
Oh yeah.
Right into their midst.
It's true, man.
And that reminds me of Freeman too. If Freeman was right under their nose all the time, there was one particular scene though. There was a portion in the movie that I did not understand because it didn't make sense to me. Because they were watching every move when the general. When he decided to leave and he was going to go back to Chicago and go into social work, that didn't make sense to me because it was widely known that they were watching his every move, and that was unexplainable in the movie to me.
You don't get how he was able to organize while they were watching him, or?
Right, yeah, because how he was able to do all this stuff because they were, blowing up military, going in military installations, stealing buses, weapons, all kinds of stuff, and training and recruiting. Yeah, I couldn't understand that.
I don't know. I don't necessarily find it unrealistic just because I know that we consistently outsmart them. So I just feel like they didn't really explain it, but I'm just like, he probably found a way. Just to like make it look like. And I also feel like, in our day-to-day lives, to exist within a society that is hostile to us, African people and poor working class people in general learn all kinds of skills to navigate the society in ways that are maybe like not entirely above board. And we're very good at it. And so, yeah, that part to me, I was just like...
Okay, well, that explains it right there. Because they can be invisible when they want to be invisible. Just like, as I used the analogy before about Freeman going in as a janitor. And took stuff right off of that general or the senator's desk and stuff like that. We just stealing stuff all around him. And just walk right on out, and he didn't even know what was going on. He wasn't any the one.
They're oblivious. Yep. So we're gonna wrap it up shortly. I do see folks cutting up in the comments, making really good, having a little bit of discussion about Jamel and Mo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't actually care. Talking, just like sharing remarks. I just want to see if there's anything that we should address. Nope, I don't see it. So anyway, one last thing that I'll say about this movie is that, like I said, like the time frame of like organizing for revolution, it was like, I think it was like a couple of years. Like that is not realistic. Like, we're not at the level of organization where we could, as a people, organize like a guerrilla revolution within the United States and not just be like immediately wiped out or arrested. So I feel like this movie had very important messages that we need to learn from about class contradictions within the African nation, about, you know, not using skin color or identity as a basis to figure out who is aligned with us or as like the sole basis, about making sure that we like respect women, period, regardless of whether or not they're sex workers or anything, or poor working class. Like, respect women, organize women, make women into revolutionaries, treat women with respect, like, and also like integrate them into
I'm with you there all the way, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also about there being a role for all Africans, regardless of complexion. Also about the primacy of African culture. All those messages are in this movie and are very important. But understand that to organize a revolution, we have to organize on a systematic basis all sectors of our people. And that is not like a short-term kind of thing. Like, the Cuban Revolution took 50 years to organize. The revolution in Guinea-Bissau took like 30, 40 years. Like, revolutions are a decades-long endeavor of integrating every single sector of our people, of poor working-class African people, into revolutionary organizations that are preparing to replace this system. So understand that we have to do this in the long haul, and it's not like sexy work, and it's not going to be like tomorrow we're going to rise up and fight the police and win. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because I feel like it's like the romanticization of revolution is like a serious problem, especially like in depictions of revolution that are kind of patriarchal. And so we do have to counter that with like the history, like the truth. We can't actually do it, but we have to understand that this is like a lifetime commitment, a long-term struggle. So yeah.
And I'm going to end with this one too. I found because I wrote it down. He says, got to the kids before Dawson, because kids are our only hope, exclamation mark. Because they're going to take this thing forward, just like we're standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, and we're the ancestors of these kids that are taking it forward.
Absolutely. I feel like we're doing the work that Avery's going to carry out, that the youth are going to carry out. Like, I might not live to see the successful revolution, but I'm like preparing the field so that the youth, the people that are youth today, could carry it forward and win. And that is my role to play, and I am grateful to play that role.
Right. Right on. Yeah. Cool. So you're never too old, and we all have something to offer. We all have skills to contribute.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody has a lane. Thank you, Afro Phoenix. I feel like that's a very good place to end it. So thank y'all so much for joining us for the Pan-African film series. That was The Spook Who Sat by the Door. I hope that you enjoyed the film, or we hope that you enjoyed the film and enjoyed the conversation. We do these film series on the second Saturday of every single month, which means that we will be back again in July with another movie. I think we still have to pick the movie, but we'll definitely put that on social media when we do. So now I'm going to show y'all some flyers for events happening, AAPRP New Mexico events happening in the next few days that you can tune into. Like, if you're in Tiwa territory, we have an event at the garden tomorrow. We're going to be planting some trees and learning about de-escalation. We're going to have a very special all-dudes edition of Weekly Pan-African News. So some things are happening. Check out the flyers and have a good rest of your day.
Hey! Atom! Reloaded! Atom! Reloaded! Tune! Ha! Yawa Krum! Yawa Krum! Rastafuwa Krum! Rastafuwa Krum! Yawa Krum! Harafuwa Krum! Harafuwa Krum! Yawa Krum! Fresh boys, fresh girls! Fresh boys, fresh girls! Yawa Krum! Wayamami! Anshafe, Kwajalami! Yawa Krum! Rastafuwa Krum! Rastafuwa Krum! Yawa Krum! Harafuwa Krum! Harafuwa Krum! Yawa Krum! Fresh boys, fresh girls! Fresh boys, fresh girls! Yawa Krum! Wayamami! Anshafe, Kwajalami! Yawa Krum! Me wo krum, as what I saw the young shimbo. Me Jimmy, Magunko, the lion's den, Chata boom. Don't try me, me tribo, her off where you feel in some mampo. Yes, the diva money in the back, to cash it. I got them before, baby property, even near intimate sympathy. Manum Pisha, Pasho, Nanatachi, Alomo, Casapaco, and the dry daddy. Jawo Krum, Bisakubabu, and Etaju, two dope, Untimate Chiamugu, Yadis Capudo, Sand Jabu to Su, for the blessing, I let you. Rasta fuwa wo krum, Rasta fuwa wo krum. Haro fuwa wo krum, Haro fuwa wo krum. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I'm Trefe, I'm Kwajalami. Rasta fuwa wo krum, Rasta fuwa wo krum. Haro fuwa wo krum, Haro fuwa wo krum. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I'm Trefe, I'm Kwajalami. Them times if I'm in the Monte, Friday night, a boy and Natch it, forget to was it. And if I not saw just mama something I will groom. I was so come magazine. Yeah, born to a yo salamujin. And now on your table, bitch, feeling free. Last time pensa, one roll nicodine. And you dope. When you see car, you the joke. Guess if I broke, cause coffee, I broke. Work hard on the low. Anything for the dough, like check the dough. Come at once, wording, I'm wording. I'm only too strong to me, I'm wording. And then me, them will get that's what I'm saying. You can ask about me way back, I don't sing. You will groom. Rasta fuwa wo krum, Rasta fuwa wo krum. Haro fuwa wo krum, Haro fuwa wo krum. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I'm Trefe, I'm Kwajalami. Rasta fuwa wo krum, Rasta fuwa wo krum. Haro fuwa wo krum, Haro fuwa wo krum. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I'm Trefe, I'm Kwajalami. Roman yende. Ya bro keke, so ready yasa, so do fun sa mani pusese. Today be today, obi ajini pay. Sister Aisha, yan shisha, no cocaine. Oh, new generation, money belongs to the youth. Some build mansions, others they drink pepper soup. What be the action? You for look sharp, don't be thief. Millions and thousands, let's be one and just forget the beef. Rasta fuwa wo krum, Rasta fuwa wo krum. Haro fuwa wo krum, Haro fuwa wo krum. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I'm Trefe, I'm Kwajalami. Rasta fuwa wo krum, Rasta fuwa wo krum.